Today's guest is friend and Compass colleague Jackie Dorbritz. Jackie leads one of the top luxury real estate teams in Collin County in the North Dallas area. She's a longtime resident of Plano, and today we're going to talk about North Texas over the years, plus a little bit of real estate too. Welcome to the podcast. I've thought about feeding the dog raw food and doing all this, but it's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't have the bandwidth for that. I have a kitchen
either.
Because it came with my house. So
not
really
That's
wanting
the
to
same
be
for
cooking.
me.
I don't cook for myself, much less my dog.
Well, that's something I want to ask you about. Let's dive in on that. What are some favorite spots in Plano?
Favorite spots for...
To eat out, or like hot spots to go eat out or have a beverage?
I go to the club a lot. I go to Glen Eagles Country Club quite a bit. I like Bella Greens, which is right over here at Park and Preston. And just really kind of simple stuff too. I love La Madeleine.
I haven't been there in ages.
And
it's right across from our office here too.
Little restaurant, right?
Yeah.
We do, and we'll go do some celebratory stuff at Steve Fields, which is great. And I liked it when it was a little closer to Willow Bend, which is where I live. But, it's another, quarter of a mile, for goodness sakes. I can't complain.
Right. We have a lot right around here.
Yeah. And, it kind of just depends on what type of food. Of course, the Casino for margaritas is always a great thing.
They do have a strong margarita.
They do. That little Mambo taxi. You should take a taxi home after a Mambo taxi, by the way. And I like Craftway Kitchen. So
yeah, I like that too. There's a lot of good spots in Plano. I think it's an underrated restaurant scene here. I do too. I think that we could. Now, when you get up to like Legacy West, there's a whole different ballgame up there. Oh yeah.
Del Frisco's and I really like Toulouse and Treverna. So those are, if we're going to go out and do something celebratory, but right here in my hood, if you will, in Willow Bend, those are kind of our favorites. But when you get up to Legacy West, Del Frisco's, Toulouse, Treverna are some great ones.
There's a lot of good spots up there.
Yeah.
The thing about Legacy West is I never want to just go there for a quick dinner because I'm not cooking, because the parking there it's more of an ordeal, I think, to go to Legacy West.
I always valet up there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. But the valet's even busy. What I can't figure out is all the Lamborghinis and like Ferraris and super expensive cars that are in the valet at Legacy West. Because I was like, I never see you driving this car anywhere else, but it's in the valet at Legacy West.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have one of those.
Yeah.
No.
But you have a nice car, but yeah.
Mercedes, but yeah.
Yeah, the valet at Legacy West
but
is where you go if you
Lamborghini,
want to see fancy cars.
I have a friend that lives up there, and he has
At Legacy West?
In those high rises that are on
towers.
the north sides. And he has one of those kind of cars. I'm like, I don't know. There's a lot I can do with $185,000.
Used to be you could buy a house for that in Dallas.
Absolutely. Well, used to be. Exactly.
Used to could.
Yeah. now you can buy it. You can't anymore. Yeah.
No. Yeah. So I want to talk about your time. You're not originally from Texas.
I was actually born in Mobile, Alabama.
Okay.
Raised in Florida.
Okay.
And moved to Texas.
All right.
From Florida.
27 years ago?
Oh, no, my gosh. It was right out of college.
Okay.
Broke up with a boyfriend, and I was like, I'm going to show you I'm going to move to Texas. Thinking that I was just going to come over here and make him jealous. And I got over here, and I thought the men were much better here, so I stayed. I was like, ooh, I like these boys around here.
I like these Texans.
I like these Texas boys. Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of like a Florida, Alabama, Southern girl.
I'm a Southern girl for sure.
Made your way to
Texas,
the big city in Texas.
Then I'm married a born and raised Texan.
Okay.
And if you don't know, you don't get those boys out of Texas. You just don't. They're not leaving Texas no matter what. No matter how much they love you, they're not leaving Texas.
Yeah, I mean, Texans who are born and raised here are very loyal and very proud of the state.
And I am now too.
Yeah, it's home for me.
But it is.
Yeah.
It's in my DNA now. People always ask me, when you retire, where are you going to go? And I'm like, home, which is here.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've lived in the house 27 years, so that is home.
That's how I got the 27. Yeah, so you came to Plano, 27 years ago, or were you in Plano before that?
No, we were in Lucas.
Okay.
We were in Lucas.
Well, I can't imagine Lucas 27 or 30 years ago. It was probably a little farm town.
Oh, And this is how we got out of Lucas. This is a true story. So Alan wanted to live out, him's my ex-husband, he wanted to live on acreage. So we were on 8.5 acres out there. And I was going back and forth to the airport because I was working in a different industry at the time. So I was gone all week. I didn't care where we lived because I wasn't home.
Yeah.
And so I come home one weekend and Drew was at the house. He said, Jackie, there's a snake in the pool. What do I do? I said, call your dad. We're moving.
Was his dad a real estate agent or something?
No. His dad was my husband.
And
I said, I'm not
it.
living anywhere that I could pull snakes in my pool. Anyway, kind of tongue in cheek about that. But I didn't like living that far out. Now it's the center of town, for God's sakes. But, you know, beautiful home, 8.5 acres, great backyard. But I'm a city girl. I wanted to live in a high-rise downtown. So we compromised and moved to Willow Bend because it still had trees.
But 27 years ago was the 90s.
Right.
And Willow Bend was just kind of getting started. I mean, all this was just kind of getting started in West Plano.
Do you know the only thing at Park and Preston when we moved out here was Tom Thumb? And there was a Mexican restaurant on the southeast corner. Those were the only two things that were out here.
Yeah.
They had just sold the polo fields, that Willow Bend, right there. Target, Willow Bend Mall, none of that was here.
Right.
It was all soccer fields. And so they were leasing it out to soccer fields at the time.
Wow.
So I've seen all of this just come. It would take me less than 60 seconds to get from my house to the tollway.
Which the tollway was certainly nothing like it is now, though.
No,
which
not
is
at all.
6 lanes now in that part of the tollway, I think?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So what inspired you guys? So you just picked the location, and it was more urban than Lucas at the time.
Right.
Did Willow Bend Mall exist then?
No. Willow Bend Mall wasn't there. Target.
None of that.
No. And there was, Whole Food wasn't there. None of that.
All of these
Trader
neighborhoods are just, that now seem like fixtures in Plano, were like up and coming.
They were just building Creeks of Willow Bend at the time.
Okay.
We would go walking.
Over on Preston.
Yeah, it's right there at Preston.
And
Parker. Kind of like between
yeah.
Parker and Park, off Preston. And we would walk over there, and we'd go through those homes as they were being built. They were, we could like, oh, wow, get ideas because we were also remodeling our home at the time. There's some beautiful homes over there. God, they're beautiful.
Yeah, that's a really nice neighborhood.
Super nice.
I've been getting ready to film a tour at Lakeside at Preston, and I was looking at when the first homes in each village and the last homes were built. And those were all like early 90s, mid 90s too, and then finishing like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure the retail was there after the houses.
Yeah. So, Lakeside Market wasn't there. None of that was there. I mean, we were really kind of still out in the middle of a farm field.
I had some clients, and he grew up in Starwood, and and I met his parents through the course. They were young, and I met the parents through the course of the transaction, and they're like, "Yeah, we used to have to drive to Plano to go out to dinner."
Oh wow!
And I was like, "That's really hard to imagine now."
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you're crossing
because that was
200 restaurants.
The same sort of thing.
We could buy beer and wine at the grocery store at Tom Thumb, but liquor at the time you still had to go into Addison to buy liquor. Yeah,
it's hard to imagine now.
Yeah. Oh, it's unbelievable how much this has grown. And Frisco was just a wide space in the road at that time. The only thing that was up there was really Stonebriar and Starwood, and we had looked up there too, and I was like, it was still too far out for me. I wanted to be closer into I was south of LBJ my whole life with my family.
Yeah, it still sounds though like, I mean, at the time when you moved up here, it was subdivisions, the true suburbs.
It was truly the suburbs.
And I suppose old Plano existed, like downtown Plano to some extent, but
yeah, we had looked at one on the golf course over on kind of mid Plano, and I wanted to be on this side. Yeah. And I think for resale value and really for the value period. I mean, as you can imagine, living here for 27 years, our value has gone up exponentially, right? Sure. That's a perfect, plug right there for location, for sure.
And I've definitely biased towards West Plano. It's my kind of favorite spot, and it's easy to get everywhere from here.
Well, I know it now. So, I mean, there are wonderful, quaint things about all of Plano and Frisco, for sure.
Frisco is going to overtake Plano soon, I think, in terms of size.
And I'll tell you what's going to be big too is Salina. Because Salina goes from one side to the other, and they said that I sat in a building and project, and this goes back meeting with the mayors probably 5-6 years ago. It's been a while, and they were talking about the growth that's going to be happening up there, and I think it's going to probably take over all of them.
That's
McKinney,
crazy to think
Frisco,
about.
Plano, it might be as big, and it will definitely be probably that size as far as the scope of the land size.
Yeah, a lot of land. McKinney's huge too, like geographically.
McKinney's so pretty. They got a lot of trees and hills, and I just sold a couple up in Melissa and Anna recently too.
Yeah,
and some land up in Anna, and gosh, the growth up there is unbelievable.
I know.
Yeah,
it's funny because there's so much new construction up there, and the homes seem to come before the amenities, right? Like the builders make these big communities, and then you're like, well, where's the grocery store? Like, and of course has a grocery store, but it doesn't have a Whole Foods yet.
We shopped at a Brookshire's when we lived in Lucas for years.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was, and we had 30 minutes to go to a movie, or
it may still be a 30-minute drive, maybe 20-minute drive if you live in Anna or Melissa to get to a movie theater.
Yeah, probably so.
That'll change.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you miss about the olden days of Plano?
Like
Plano in the 90s or early 2000s?
It was just so easy to get everywhere. It was just super easy.
Okay.
And, and there was a lot of wide open spaces. And there is something to be said about that for sure, right?
There's not a lot of wide open spaces anymore.
And especially in Willow Bend Lakes, because we have all those trees and we have all the lakes, and we're right there by the golf course. And so just the beauty of it. And we've been able to maintain that because we own a lot of land within our community. We have green belts, and we have,
the HOA has set that up smartly.
Yes. So I love that. So we kind of still have that cut out in our neighborhood, but it used to be everywhere. I mean, you drive down the road and you had bluebonnets that were growing on, which is now where Willow Bend Park is, and Yeah.
I mean, the only meaningful pieces of land left are the Haggard properties, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Those will eventually be developed too, I'm sure.
Yeah. I was coming down Park the other day from 75. I'd gone over there to meet with a client. And, there's that one spot that's right there. I think it's at Park and either Custer or Independence. And they still have the old Haggard farm that's right there.
I know, but the last time I drove by, there was a rezoning sign on it.
Oh, was
there? And I was like, oh, here we go.
But, they sold part of that land to the Toll Brothers development. I sold a couple in there right after they had developed that area.
I find that particular development to be a little bit out of place. Like it's this price differential seems pretty high relative to the other homes on the blocks around it. Well, it's nice homes. It's a good location for sure.
And they're very big houses.
That's true. They're very big.
I think that's the price differential is the size of the homes for sure.
Yeah.
But the location's great, and but they're pretty big homes, and they don't have very big backyards at all.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're looking for something with a lot of space and you can, mow your lawn with a weed eater, you're in good shape there.
Yeah. I mean, Plano still's got large lot sizes. The older neighborhoods. If you go to Frisco, you're not getting a backyard unless if you're in the millions or multiple millions now.
No. And, we have some in our neighborhood that are over an acre that sit on the lake.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's probably 1/4 of an acre.
That's a perfect size.
It is. It's very manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted a smaller.
For Saturday mornings when you got to mow the lawn.
Do I look like a mow mother?
Yeah. And it's a lot.
I wouldn't know how to start a lawnmower.
I like mowing the lawn. I don't do it right now. I like it because it's like lining up the lines. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a little bit meditative in a way.
There was a guy when we got through remodeling the inside of our home, right? Because we bought it as a foreclosure.
Oh, wow.
So we walk outside, and we were so proud of what we did. And we walk outside, and, we were young and, young married couple. And we looked at their neighbor across the street who had the most beautiful lawn. And he mowed it with a golf course mower.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at Alan, he's like, don't look at me. Yeah. And it was funny. And so we decided at that point it was probably good for us to redo the front yard too. So that was our next big project. But
yeah. Have you done multiple remodels in the 27 years?
Oh, absolutely. I'm doing one right now.
Oh, wow.
So there are two things that I didn't like about my house when I bought it. It had stone fireplaces and it had a wall between the kitchen and the rest of the house. The kitchen was kind of landlocked, but it was 2-story kitchen. So it was 25-foot ceilings. So it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I didn't, have a kitchen because it came with the house. It was a gift with purchase. So I didn't really care.
Free add-on.
But if I ever sell it, I needed to open that up. So I'm opening that up right now and redoing those fireplaces.
How's it been remodeling your own house while you're living in it?
Can I say this on a mic?
You can say, of course, yeah.
It's an absolute butt whipping.
Oh gosh,
yeah.
This is what I worry about for people that are like, we're gonna buy this house and change everything while we live in it. I'm like,
I have to tell you, well, the kitchen. Keep in mind, you're going to be, having everything out of your laundry room. So we're living right now with a coffee pot and an air fryer, and and we do have a refrigerator outside, so that's good. But so we've repositioned and reimagined that whole area over there. It'll be great when it's done. Be great for resale. How long is this
project?
It's a massive project, and I'm having it, of course, permitted, so that adds about a month onto it. Yeah. So we'll be all in about 4.5 months. Yeah. And a couple years ago, I redid the whole backyard and built an outdoor kitchen and a water wall and all new landscaping and a pergola.
Oh, nice.
Then a couple years before that, I did all new pillow windows and doors and wood floors, and I have no carpet in the house. So I've been in perpetual remodel mode for longer than I would like to.
That's not in our real estate brochures.
It's not.
But I think that's part of, if you find a home in a location you love, that's just part of the journey, is changing it over time.
Well, and I looked very seriously about, well, maybe I'll just sell my home and downsize, because my home's almost 3,700 square feet. But 3,700 square feet on one story is sweet. Yeah. So, you start looking at what your options are, and they're way far north, and they're way more expensive than I would have. My home's almost paid for.
Yeah. And now you're like, do I want to drive to Salina for a really expensive home that's one story?
And if I had children, I would in a heartbeat. Yes. I think that's the thing is.
But I think people, when they have kids, 2 stories, they're more okay with the 2-story, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, our neighborhood's starting to turn over. For a while, it was a little older generation, and I'm now starting to peek into that older generation myself. But I'm I'm not going anywhere. One story. But if I'd been in a 2-story, I would have already sold and gone. Yeah.
This is when I think about Plano and neighborhoods like you're talking about, and just generally in West Plano. I think there's a big opportunity for investors to come in and do a lot of high quality renovations.
Absolutely.
Like in the scale we're seeing in Midway Hollow or parts of Dallas.
They're starting to do that.
We're not seeing a lot of it, but I really feel like it's coming because I think there's a market for it.
I've sold several to people that have done investments. This was before COVID. Yeah. So because since COVID, of course, our prices have escalated exponentially. Yeah. But prior to COVID, that was happening with a lot of homes over in Willow Bend.
Right. Yeah, like you look at Willow Bend Country, these huge houses.
I've got one for sale right now on Plantation.
Let's tell us about it. I've seen that house. It's beautiful.
Oh my God,
but it's
stunning.
Huge.
It's a very nice size home, and it's over an acre.
Wait, is it 6,000 square feet?
No, it's 8,300 and change. Yes, but most of that living space is downstairs.
That's what's cool about it.
So that's what's so super.
It also has a dog shower.
Great. It's got a dog shower. It does.
That's an important feature.
And it's nice how the side yards are separated too. So you got a fire pit so that you can kind of hang out over there. Or you can even build a tennis court or pickleball court over on the other side. So beautiful though. But
that's totally remodeled though.
No, completely
gut remodel,
which is what's so unusual about it.
Right. I think we'll see more of that.
It is.
Maybe I'm hoping beautiful. We'll see more of that. In West Plano.
Well, there's a big one that's being remodeled right now. I think it's on Champions in Willow Bend. Is it Champions in Willow Bend that's being remodeled? And they're completely refaced it as well. Wow. So they've wrapped it in stucco now, and it's been under renovation for over probably a year and a half.
Yeah, these are big projects. And I have to imagine in that neighborhood it's going to be $5 million plus.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
So, I think there's a market for that in Plano. But not as many buyers as the Park Cities for sure.
Oh, Park Cities, $5 million is,
An average house. In between episodes, stay up to date on all things home and lifestyle with my weekly newsletter, Into the Weekend with Matt, where I share the latest real estate updates, new videos from our team, and advice for both buyers and sellers alike. To sign up, go to hastingsre.com/ITW. That's HAISTINGSRE.com/ITW. Have you worked with a lot of people relocating to Texas from other places like California?
For sure. Yes,
Have you
a lot.
noticed recently that they're like, oh, it's not as affordable as I thought?
Yes.
'Cause I've started to see some of that
since
now.
COVID. Since COVID happened, a lot of things changed here in North Texas.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we had a lot of people coming in. And then you got into these multiple bidding wars.
Mm-hmm.
I had a house in the market a year ago December, and I had 39 offers on it in 24 hours.
Right.
And we just had 15 offers on this property that we just put on the market
2023.
here in Willow Bend. Yeah.
That's the part of the story that people are not talking about this year, is that multiple offers are still happening.
They are.
The supply is, I think, still tight.
But I think it's in a certain price point too.
Yes.
So, when you start getting above $1.5 million, you don't have those multiple offers. And
There's
sometimes even $1.2 million when you get up in Frisco, you don't have that. But it all depends on the house.
Yeah.
When somebody comes in and they love it, and the husband or the wife are like, fine, then it's all bets are off.
Yeah.
My crystal ball broke during COVID. I don't know about yours, but I could probably test, I could give you answers and all of that, and hardcore answers.
Yeah.
And now you're thinking, oh, that'll go in a week, and it goes in a month, and that'll go in 3 months, and it goes in 24 hours. So.
I just started telling people, like, I can't predict crazy, and there's a lot of craziness out there.
I'm stealing that from you.
Yeah, if you're welcome to use it. There are no copyrights or trademarks.
Right.
I just am like, I can't predict crazy. And this would happen a lot with buyers, and I'm like, I this is what I think you should offer. I still feels high to me, but I can't predict crazy. And then, people come in and blow them out of the water with another $150,000 more. And you're like, well, like I said, I can't predict crazy. But if you crazy like it, then you need to be crazy too.
I was outbid last year on a $1.2 million home by $400,000. $400,000.
30% over.
And I just told my buyers, I said, guys, I cannot with a straight face tell you that I think you should do that.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we love the house, but we don't love it that much. And I said, there will be another house.
Right.
There will be another house.
This is a hard thing for the first-time home buyers.
Yes, and although it's 2.6% interest rate, what's the old saying is that you marry the house, but you date the rate. Mm-hmm. And get in at a more affordable price point, and then you can always refinance later.
You can only get your price once.
Right.
You can change that rate every year.
Right.
Yeah. Some people think that the people that paid crazy like that last year are going to be stuck. That they're going to regret that. I don't know. Not convinced.
That crystal ball again is broken, so I don't know the answer to that. But I'm glad my clients were not one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it pays to be cautious in the approach with clients.
You would get these, information on how to submit an offer. No option period, $10,000 option fees. 5% earnest money, close in 3 weeks. Only approval.
Yeah.
And it was cash.
And we would also we'd prefer all this in cash, and we'd also like it if you'd give us a new car too, please.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like,
I would get so annoyed at the listing agents because I feel like if anybody had like an ounce of diva behavior in them, that it was like exponential during the COVID market, and they would be like, "I'm not speaking to you," all these things, and it just. I'm so happy we're back to something more normal now.
It is more normal. It is. Yes.
The new normal.
What is normal in real estate, right?
I don't know. You've been in this game for
18 years.
Oh wow, okay.
18 years.
Yeah, it's almost 2 decades now.
Yeah, it's on my second career, of course, like a lot of people.
Yeah, mine too.
And I've been doing it 18 years.
What got you into real estate?
I was kind of searching for what I wanted to do. I'd spent 26 years in the corporate cosmetic industry, and I just
Were you working for Mary Kay?
No.
Whenever I think of cosmetics and talents.
Yeah, exactly. No, I worked for Yves Saint Laurent and Oscar de la Renta.
Oh, wow.
And I worked for Chanel at one point. And my office was out of New York, and I was on the I was on an airplane every day of my life. I got tired of traveling. I was kind of a newlywed, and I'd been married less than 3 years, and I was always gone. I was gone Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Or at least Monday through Thursday for sure, or Tuesday through Friday. And so they kept merging together, and after having 4 people's jobs, then it finally got me, and they pulled them out of New York and started, it's consolidation.
Yeah.
And I kind of took a few years off and played tennis and had tea parties and figured out what I wanted to do once I grew up. And my friend that was, he was a divisional manager at Neiman Marcus. He said, "Why don't you come to work over here?" And I'm like, I don't want to work in retail. I don't, retail's a it's no. And I would have worked in the corporate office, but it's still
Downtown Dallas.
Yeah. And he said, "Well, if you don't do that, you should be a real estate agent," because he had just bought a home in Midway Hollow.
That's so random. You should come to work for me or be a real estate agent.
Yeah. So when he
like a curse.
When he realized that I was not going to come to work in the retail side of that, or even in the corporate, home office, he's like, "I just bought a house," and he's like, "Jackie, there's a lot of people that come through my office, but you remind me a lot of our real estate agent we just used." And to be honest with you, it wasn't even on my radar. And I thought, okay. So there was a girl that lived in our neighborhood that was an agent, and I went over and talked to her, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah.
I got my license, and yeah.
How did you initially get your first couple clients?
My very first client was someone I knew from Miss Texas. We used to call him the Miss Texas Police. So whenever Miss Texas would be crowned, he would be the person that would take her. And his name was Oliver Seawood, great guy. And so he said, "We want to sell our house." I said, "Well, I have no idea what I'm doing." I mean, I'm pretty transparent, right? And he's like, "Yeah, but I personally know your character, and you will figure it out."
Yeah.
And I worked on a team too, so he was comfortable with that. We got the highest dollars per square foot in his neighborhood ever.
Oh, wow.
And it sold in like 2 weeks, and it was a cash deal.
What neighborhood was this?
This was in Mansfield.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. You're probably not driving to Mansfield quite as much anymore.
Not as much, no. But it was so funny. And so I thought, oh, man, I'm going to shake this industry up. I'm going to be fabulous. And so the neighbor is mowing his yard one day, and he wants me to now sell his house, right? Well, that particular house they had to move out because they had black mold. And the floor plan was very awkward. It was one of those, like the master bedroom was like 1,800 square feet. But every other bedroom in the house was like 6 by 6. Exactly. So that one was not nearly as easy, needless to say.
Yeah.
That one was, going back to that, it was very challenging. But we got it sold. And I was so naive at the time on what to do. I made those poor buyers sign every single page of that 1,000-page information.
Know exactly what you signed
on that black, on the black mold. I made them initial every single page.
Yeah.
So I'm like, don't ever come back to me on that, because you need to read all of that, and I want you to initial that says that you've noticed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was that one of your worst transactions?
No.
No. What was your worst one? Without names, of course, but just stories.
I had a really challenging one a couple years ago, and it was a guy that had come in on an open house over actually here in Willow Bend.
Okay.
And he was just his conversation was always about 12 octaves higher than anyone else's in the world. And he was very, 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 very high strung. And with the title company, his lender wouldn't speak to him, the title company wouldn't speak to him. So all communications had to come through me. And that was pretty challenging.
Fun, I'm sure.
Pretty challenging.
Yeah.
So
most of the challenges are the people problems. Really.
I grew up in a family that if somebody yelled, it was because the house was on fire. So that's just not my mode of operandi or conversations.
Yeah.
So I had to remember that people are different, and but it was a challenge. I mean, and the title companies and the lenders were calling me just, oh my God, I'm like, hey. y'all don't have to talk to him.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a challenge. So that was probably my hardest one.
Okay.
And actually one that I was most nervous about, believe it or not, was my parents' home. So I sold my parents' home a couple years ago, and I sold them a home. Now, my parents had never bought a home that was pre-owned, ever.
Wow.
They'd always built their homes.
From the builder.
Always built their homes. So, and they're very particular. So I thought, oh my goodness. I mean, and they wanted to be either in Willow Bend or Frisco. And so I was pretty nervous about that, but it wound up being great. And then I sold it about 4.5 years later and almost doubled their money.
Oh, yeah.
So that was really good. But I was nervous about that one. It was not difficult at all. They were great, but I was nervous.
Well, you're gonna Sunday dinners. You're gonna hear about the house problems if it doesn't go well, right?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes.
Yeah, I think if my sisters or parents were like, we're moving to Texas, I'd be like, great. Which agent on my team do you want to work with?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it actually wound up being really probably my most rewarding sale was that one because they were, how it turned out.
We can see the personal impact too.
Oh,
all the
no
time.
question. And that's what this business is about for sure. It's the personal impact that you have with people. And, you change their lives. You really do. You change their lives. And there's always something for you to be grateful for. You get to know new people and, what makes them tick and their family members. And now I'm starting to, sell homes to people that their kids were 5 and 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
Right? And now we're starting to sell them homes. And that really, that brings a tear to my eyes. I love it so much.
That is super cool. I'm not at that yet timeline, but I'm now where people that we bought their first starter home are coming back and they're like, hey, we have some kids now and we need more space. And it's definitely fun to see when the house became a home.
Right.
Because sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up in the transaction and all the details or the haggling sometimes. Less so lately because you're like, just give them everything. No haggling. Give them everything they want and maybe they'll say yes. But that's the very rewarding part about this is the people aspect.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I'm in this business.
Yeah.
It really is. And the money's
It could be good. Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to work it too, for sure.
Well, this is the thing that it can be financially good as a real estate agent, but the good agents also make it look easy.
Yeah, and it's
right?
not easy.
Well,
that's our job.
That's our job to make it look easy.
Possible.
A lot of agents don't do that.
Well,
but at least that's what I see on the other side of the transaction. I'm like, let me help you fill a contract out. But the clients when they're like, oh, you're overpaid, you're like, well, we just made it look easy. Like I had the knowledge and wisdom to help this go easy and effortless. You could have tried this with somebody else and had a disaster.
Well, collaboration is the number one word we always need to remember here. We're collaborating for the best interest of our clients. And sometimes everybody doesn't get everything they want, but you collaborate to make it as win-win of a possible as you can. Yeah. But when you get very competitive people, and that's agents included, it can be challenging for sure. I mean, it's not about us. It's about our clients.
Right.
And unfortunately, I think you're right. Some agents forget that.
Sometimes the ego gets in the way.
Yeah. I don't run across those very much anymore, but, you know, I have. I mean, I think anybody that's in this industry that's telling you that they didn't, it's not true.
You're going to experience it.
Yeah.
What made you decide to join Compass? Because we talked about collaboration. We have our Compass entrepreneurship principles, and one of my favorites is collaborate without ego.
Yeah.
What made you inspired to come here?
So I have some friends that helped Compass early on when they were in New York, and they were kind of just working through what they were going to do. And I'd seen him in New York, and he said, Jackie, you need to watch this Compass company. You really do. You need to watch it. So when they came to Dallas, I started seeing a lot of these big agents that were starting to join. One of my dear friends, Mark Kane, who I respect that man so much. I love him. When he joined Compass, they got my attention for sure. I'm like, wow, what does he know? I don't know. So we went to dinner and we started talking about it, and he's like, this is where you need to be. And he started telling me some of the features. And then I met with a guy by the name of Eric Matizak. I don't know if you met with Eric.
Yeah, that's who I met with. Yep.
And Eric started showing me what their platform was like and what their plans were, and it was a no-brainer. I mean, it was just unbelievable from what I had come from.
Right.
And
well, we came from the same place, which I really liked. I was very happy there.
Them. Oh, they're fabulous. Still some of my favorite people in this industry.
Yeah.
But I was amazed at how everything is in one space. And you can run your business from your desktop on everything you need to do and not have 14 different companies that you got to worry about if their systems are down for the day or, this isn't working for the day or that's not. It's all right there. You've got someone that can help you. I mean, Compass support is unbelievable. And now, I mean, look at where they are. Within 10 years, they're a Fortune 500 company, and they're number one in luxury in the country.
Yeah.
And the doors it's opened for me have been unbelievable. It's just exponentially better than wherever it was before. And we've doubled our business since we came here.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
now, your business is heavily luxury. Was that fair to say?
It is. I think our average right now that we have in title is about $1.2 million.
Yeah. So
and our listings.
Generally speaking, a luxury price point.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you think that's different compared to maybe the mainstream or first-time home buyer, if you will? Though some people buy first time in the luxury, but generally speaking, people are moving up into that segment of the market.
Well, I think also when you start getting into the luxury area, you start getting very taste specific within the homes that are how they're finished out and decorated on the inside and what someone is looking for as well. So that's kind of one thing.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that, but that is interesting. People do have.
I've got one right now that it's a beautiful home, but there's 14 different colors in it. I mean, I don't have the listing, but we have an offer in on it. And it's just very taste specific. You can tell that they were probably, every little niche has a different color in it. And
that's challenging.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. And I think that they usually in the luxury market, they know what they want and they come to you and you are the person to find it. They're not going out to kind of search and, do a search and gather. They usually know where they want to be. And we get a lot of clients also that aren't referrals. Most of our business is referral, but off our Dallas Golf Homes.
Yeah, that's a cool website you have.
Yeah, so
I'm slightly jealous because that's a domain name that's a huge win. I mean,
yeah, we actually just got that trademark too, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Oh, cool! Congratulations. So you're starting now. Like early in your career, it was probably mostly referrals.
Yeah.
And now you're probably getting people off of DallasGolfHomes.com, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And
so
during COVID, you cannot even believe the amount of people that we had that were coming in off of that. It was just unbelievable. And we get between 2,500 and 3,000 organic searches on that site a month.
Wow.
And so it's been a very strong vehicle for us. But, since the interest rates have raised, we have a lot of those luxury buyers that are also kind of stepping back because their stocks are and their stocks are down and their bonds are down. So they've kind of stepped over on the sidelines a little bit more than they have in the past.
Interesting.
So, I think the stock market is affected more. The luxury market is affected more when the stock market is kind of in flux like it's been.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah. We have a lot of people that pay cash, but they don't want to pull cash out of the stock market.
Yeah, the cash is coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that most people have their cash in another asset until they change it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and you really feel the rate at those price points.
Yes, for sure. And if their stocks are down with whatever brand, that they've got stocks in, it's down 15%. When they take it out, then they have to pay a fee on top of that. It's like, no, I'll stay where I am for a little while.
I feel generally speaking like the whole market is maybe a lot of people are waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And along that's what you're saying. Like,
I'm glad the rates did not go back up this week, but I think the Fed has said that they're going to probably raise them one more time.
Yeah, I suspect we'll see that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, you've been doing this almost 20 years. I'm sure you've seen another time when rates were in the sixes before.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there were 7s and 8s at one point.
Yeah.
And, my parents had when they lived down in the Preston Hollow area, I think they were like at 13% at one point. So, we really, the history of the rates have fluctuated, but it's kind of like when we've been sitting in that hot tub at 2.5%, I'm at 2.6%. You think I'm ever moving?
This is the problem. So. Yeah, that's why we're not seeing a lot of great supply come on the market.
Oh, there's
people
very
really have to want to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why location again, you know?
Yeah. It's funny. It seemed cliche when I started doing real estate, and now after more time in the industry, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
because that's what makes it a scarce commodity. Like, you're in that one location that everybody wants.
Yeah.
You can change that. You can tear down the house.
Oh, sure.
But like the location, you can't move that.
No.
That's what you're always
You
buying.
can change
is
the
a
floor
location.
plan. You can change paint
Yeah.
colors, niche colors.
I mean, look what we're seeing in Preston Hollow and
Yeah.
Midway Hollow and all these other areas of Dallas. Like, it's a good location, so they just tear down the house.
Where do you live?
I live by Arbor Hills, so
Oh,
West
okay.
Plano.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I like, I didn't grow up in a big city, and so being by the nature park is important to me to like get.
I love it over there.
So my couple times a week morning walk is good for my mental health.
Do you take your puppy?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. He knows Arbor Hills better than anybody who works for Plano Parks, I'm sure. He could give anybody the whole tour
stick.
every stick, every blade of grass. He could give anybody the full tour of Arbor Hills.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's it's a good spot.
Yeah.
It's close to everything.
Absolutely.
And I prioritize location too.
Yeah.
That's why I always get frustrated with sometimes first-time home buyers who really heavily weight the house, because you can change the house, and sometimes people end up in a location that's not what they wanted, and even with great advice, they're like, no, this is what I really want. And if they're not a homebody, they're driving a long ways for the things they like to do.
Right. Well, that's why I ask buyers all the time, what are your 3 deal breakers?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
What are your 3 deal breakers? And I put it in their file. And so when we go back and they start getting off on, well, that kitchen doesn't have the right faucet and that one does, I'm like, it's not on your deal breakers. Schools, location. I mean, those are the first 2 things.
Those
And
two
your
go hand in
lifestyle.
hand.
And, of course, budget. But, those are your 3.
That's also a challenge for everybody.
Well, especially since it's gone up. I've got one that's coming in from Colorado right now, and he said to me, we're moving out of this, home, and it was a couple $1 million, and he said, I think I can probably replace it for about $500,000 in North Texas.
Unless if you're in Aspen. I mean.
But in a country club community.
Oh no.
I said it only could be 4 country club communities because they were the blue. They had to be blue courses within, which is Las Colinas, Stonebriar, TPC, and Glen Eagles.
What does a blue course mean?
It means it's the length, and that's where pros usually go to be trained to actually work. Young adults go to be trained to be pros, and of course now the PGA that's just opened as well.
Yeah.
So
And none of those are going to be 500,000. Yeah. I know you missed that.
No.
But the golf courses have never been
Yeah.
on the cheaper side.
No, golf course
Again,
communities
location.
aren't. Yeah.
Location.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think is going to happen the rest of 2023?
I think that we're going to still have steady business. I think that it's going to be steady. I don't think we're going to be burning it up like we did in, 2021.
That's too worn out.
Because if you weren't paying cash back then, you just kind of weren't getting a house. And it was so sad because people would get their heart set, and we would have lenders calling, and I would be like,
writing these,
they're already approved, they're ready. This is like cash, but it still had to clear that. And when they've got 9 offers that are cash that are 20% over asking price, so because it still then had to appraise too, and they might have had to come to the table with another $100,000 in cash,
right?
And if they're getting a loan, they really can't do that. So. I think that those days are hopefully behind us for a while. Knock on it for me too, please.
Definitely. I have a little more free time these days, and I'm like, I need to think differently now about how I use some free time, because I joked before you'd show 28 houses, write 28 offers to buy one.
Well, you're now more intentional.
And
right?
now it's like, okay, we don't have to see 28 houses. We might, but we're not going to write 28 offers. We're just going to pick the house you like
and you'll
and
take
have a
whatever you
negotiation.
get, and you're going to like it. And if not, then
Yeah. So it's a nice market. I think I'm on the same page as you that 2023 will be.
I think it's going to be steady. Our business is steady. It's not 40% increases like we were saying, but we were 165% over last year, the first quarter though. So we had a great first quarter.
That's good. Congratulations.
And our second quarter's been solid, but it's So it's inventory. I mean, we have another
You can't sell what's
15
not
million
there.
we could close next month if we could
Right.
get the inventory for it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So it's tricky. But it's fun. I mean, we still get to meet cool people.
yeah.
What do you wish I would have asked you today in our time together?
What do I wish you would have
Yeah.
asked me?
That's my trick question I give
That is a
people.
trick question. I really wasn't. I don't. I
Okay,
don't
good.
Really have
Yeah, no missed
anything of-
expectations. Awesome.
I'm just now. I used to do interviews for Miss Texas, so we would ask, "What are you glad I didn't ask you today?"
Oh, should I ask you
Maybe
that?
reposition
Yeah.
that. What are you glad that you didn't ask me today? But you've already asked me that. What was my most challenging client? So,
Oh yeah.
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 So
Sorry.
what did I hope you would ask me today?
What's a story you want to tell?
I just really have to tell you, I love what I do.
Oh,
I
that's
really,
great.
really love what I do. And I have a great team. I think maybe what I would like for you to have asked me more about is my team.
Well, let's hear more about that.
So Arian has worked with me for a little over 10 years,
That's
almost 11
amazing.
years. And, teams disperse a lot. And I'm very proud of the fact that I've put together an incredible team.
Yeah.
And they stay with us. And Tamara's been with me for about 8 years, Angela about 6 years,
Wow.
Dee Dee about 4, and then we've got 2 new agents that have just joined us in the last
Yeah.
18 months.
What's the secret sauce
So-
for people to stay so long?
I think you are fair, and you answer their calls when they call you because they're there for guidance.
Yeah.
And I'm not there to just collect money from them. I'm there to guide
Yeah.
them and help them. And so, and you're fair. You got to be fair, for sure.
Yeah.
And let them know they're appreciated. Mm-hmm. And there are times that I'm sure every one of them have wanted to just, bury me in the backyard because I'm like, yeah, we can't
not
do
doing it
that.
that
We're
way.
not going to do it that
Yeah.
way. And or I know that we had to do it that way, but now things have changed and I see it coming. Mm-hmm. But when you've been in the business 18 years, you also see things that are coming around the bend. So I think that's the secret sauce. And I just have really solid agents that have common sense. Common sense and being rational and knowing how to talk to people is half of what we do.
Yeah. What's
It
the
really is.
recruiting process to join that? It's the Jackie Dorbritz team, right?
Well, yeah. Well, Arian actually came to me.
Okay.
Arian and I knew each other. She was Miss Texas
wow.
years ago, and I was on the board of directors. And she came to me and she said, "I want to talk to you. I think I want to be a real estate agent." And she was a teacher in McKinney ISD. So I said,
I think teachers make good real estate agents.
"She is super good. She's really good." And she's now our assistant, kind of inside sales assistant, kind of, our mother, if you will.
The team mom.
She keeps us all together. And
We
she,
sort of have one of those too.
yeah. And so she was the first. And then Tamara was the second one. And she was going through a divorce and came and she interviewed like 4 different companies.
Oh, wow.
And then she came back to our team because I said, listen, it's not easy. When I get, this is how we do it. And this is how we want to keep our brand strong. And she believed in what we were doing. So, and I said, listen, I'm going to pay for you and Arian to go to dinner and go have a drink. And she can give you the good, the bad, and the ugly without me there.
That's what we do on our team too.
Yes.
I'm like, you're having a lunch, not with me.
But not with me. Ask the hard
Yeah.
questions to her.
Yeah.
And, I don't take that offensively.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have a sense of humor too, and we
business,
really do.
yeah.
We laugh a lot. We work hard, but we play hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of snowballed from there. We went through a few that we had to get rid of.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
You kind of grow too fast and you're like, oh, I got this down, kind of like the whole first house easy thing, right?
Yeah.
But pretty quickly. And my gut told me that I shouldn't have done that, but I kind of went against that. And within 60 days, I had gone back to trusting my gut again, and now I just trust my gut.
That's good life advice.
I just trust my gut.
Yeah.
On people, just
Yeah. So if somebody's a new real estate agent, do you hire new agents or mostly?
just hired 2 new agents.
What advice would you give to a new agent?
You know what? Get on a team. Absolutely, get on a team. Ask questions.
Yeah.
Don't assume that you know it or you can figure it out. get on a
Cost
team,
your client a lot of
ask
money
questions.
making assumptions.
Yes, ask questions. Don't ever assume you know what you're doing, because sometimes common sense, when you put it on paper and it's in a contractual form, is not how it reads.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
our contracts are, sometimes you think, what? You know, it's even at the closing table, it's the double negatives. You have never not.
Yeah.
You know?
What? Yeah.
Yeah. So ask those questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's good advice.
And communicate with your sphere of influence. You know, that's where mine came from, probably
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah, you're probably your biggest cheerleaders.
Absolutely.
I was actually an anomaly, though, truthfully, because I didn't have much of a network in Dallas. So my business started on Zillow.
Did
Which,
it
you know, a lot
really?
of people hate Zillow, but like it is an opportunity to get in front of people who want to buy or sell homes.
I've never, ever had a Zillow lead. I never.
You're probably lucky. No.
Well, I'd lived here for a long time, too.
Yeah. So you had a big network. I
Yeah.
didn't have much of a network. So that was an opportunity to start getting in front of people and making relationships. And now a lot of my past clients are people that I met on there, and they're giving me referrals. And so it's much more organic now.
Right.
And a lot more fun. But
I had joined Prudential initially, and they were a big relocation company.
Yeah.
And from my background being in luxury, they would give me, not give me, but refer me luxury clients. And I kind of got networked into that with them initially. And they were a great training ground for me. Great training ground. So Dee Dee, who now works for us, used to be their director of marketing and technology.
oh, wow.
And then she decided she wanted to be an agent and came to work over here with us.
Yeah.
So she's been a huge help. She's super good.
Yeah.
So
The team building's fun. I think that's a cool part of the business that's overlooked for somebody getting into real estate. They don't maybe appreciate what's going on with teams.
I joined a team initially, and I think it was very helpful for me, because you can have somebody sit down with you and go through those contracts and explain those contracts. And they have the relationships with the title companies that you don't have to then go in as a novice.
Start from scratch.
Yeah, and they have the vendor list that you don't have somebody that doesn't show up 4 times. And, you know, so you've got that network in there.
Yeah.
And don't ever overlook that. It's a big,
super valuable.
it's a big plus.
Yeah. I want to thank you for sharing all your wisdom today and your
Thanks.
stories and making time out of your busy day to be on the
Thank you
podcast.
for asking me. I'm honored.
Yeah, it was a
I was
pleasure.
like, why would you want to talk to me? That's
Because
sweet.
you've got great
I appreciate
stories.
it. Thank you.
If our audience wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to connect?
DallasGolfHomes.com.
Okay.
And on our site.
It's that great website.
It is,
Yeah.
DallasGolfHomes.com.
DallasGolfHomes.com.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so we have a number on there. They can call us, and we'd love to help them.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, well, thanks for
I
your time,
appreciate
Jackie.
you having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you been thinking about moving to North Texas? Maybe you're looking in Plano, Dallas, Frisco, or the surrounding communities. Each year, our team helps dozens of families make the move to Texas. We'd love to help you begin your journey. Learn more on our website at hastingsre.com. That's HAISTINGSRE.com.